Morning guys, welcome to another episode of How To. Today we're talking how to set the Madone brakes. This is something I found that has taken me a while to learn, and hopefully I can help you guys sort out a lot of the stuff that I've learned to avoid doing and just make it a lot quicker, because if you don't know what you're doing, it can take quite some time. So first things first, you're going to need is a size 2 Allen key. And then you're going to need a Tupperware just to put the screws in, that you don't lose any of the bolts, because I have lost a bolt before and it took me about 3 hours to find it. So first things first is you want to go and take off the bolt. So taking off the bolt using your size 2 Allen key. Once it's off, this cap here will come right off like so. So the screws can fall out, that's why I recommend that you put these screws into a Tupperware, just so you don't lose them. So as you can see, we've taken the cap off now. You can see on one side my brake has gotten a bit more stretched than the other, and this is no longer sitting level. So now what you want to do is you're going to be adjusting these 2 screws on each side, as well as a screw that's going to be sitting in there that's going to tension the spring tension. That's going to be crucial to setting up the brake itself. So first things first, with your size 2 Allen key, you want to just give your brakes a squeeze just to make sure that this is indeed centered or not. As you can see that this side takes a bit longer to go in, so that's saying that this spring here, so you're going to turn it towards the plus sign or the H a little bit. You're going to check it again. Now it's starting to pull a bit more center. Another way you can do it if you're setting them up fresh is you tighten both springs, that the wheel is completely clamped like that, and then you slowly loosen the tension so that it'll come out. These 2 screws here on the side, as I can show you, these 2 screws here on the side, these ones here, will adjust how far in or far out they'll go. With adjusting these, you'll need to adjust the spring tension, because that'll also indicate how far you're going to go in or not. So like I need to add a bit of space on this side, so I'm going to turn it towards the plus sign like so, a little bit. Give the brake a squeeze. So as you can see now, the tension on this side, there's a lot more of a gap. So what I need to do now is I need to make this smaller. So I'm going to turn just like the other side, but I'm going to turn it towards the minus to eliminate the gap. Give it more squeeze. Unfortunately, these brakes are very finicky, so you're going to have to play around quite a bit to get the hang of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase the spring tension of this side. I'm going to increase the amount. See, now as you can see that the brake lever is nice and centered. That's what you want to go for, because then when you pull the brake lever, both brakes engage at the same time. So once you're done, just you're happy with this, you're going to go and pop on the brake caliper once more, like so. Make sure you tighten the screws. Make sure you don't over tighten the screws, because these screws do strip pretty easily. And if you're doing that, I recommend that just finger tight, it will be perfect. Guys, I hope that helped you to learn how to set the Madone brakes. So just remember, when you're setting them, if you're setting them up brand new from the first time, I find it's easier that you completely clamp the brakes onto the wheel and then slowly adjust outwards by loosening the screws. I recommend that you fully screw in the tension screws, which will be the side bolts that directly go in sideways like that. It'll just make life a little bit easier, and you get that spring back from the brakes. So you'll do the same on the back, the same way you set them up. You just have to run the back brakes a little bit wider, purely because if you're running your back brake on your right hand side, like most riders do, the brake cable goes around the top tube and into the left hand side of the frame through the feeder hole that makes it an internal brake. And when you turn right, it does pull the brake a little bit when you do a sharp 180-degree turn. So I recommend you just run them a little bit wider and test that when you do pull the brake so that it doesn't fully touch. It might have like a little bit of rub to get to like how tight you want your brakes to squeeze when you pull the brake and like how responsive you want them. But if you're running the brakes like motocross style, when you have your back brake on your left and your front brake on your right, you don't have to worry about this because the brake won't be bent around the top tube the steering tube when you turn. But yeah, hopefully this helps. If there's any more queries about setting the brakes or anything, just comment them below. And if you want to see anything else, leave a comment.